fathers will understand.
I told you he was an awesome dad.
What's up, dudes? Welcome back to Doodla. I'm Michael.
I'm John.
And we are continuing our series on families. We just went to a Drew and Ellie Holcomb concert. If you haven't heard, they have a song called Family. It's a lot of fun.
Tugging on the heartstrings, or
no? It's more about fun. It's like
Okay.
stomping in the kitchen, singing around, like what you kind of what we hit on the last one. Like, what are you going to do for your family, and
what kind of memories you're going to create?
Yeah, and it's a fun little song. So if you haven't heard it, it's called "Family" by Drew Holcomb and the Neighbors.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, it's a fun one. So Abigail and I got a little date night. Just the two of us went to a dinner and a concert.
Wow, when was the last time you did that?
Long time ago. And it would, like, even just having a normal date night. Like, normally our date nights are like, hey, let's just at least run to dinner, or we're going to go do that. Like, having the full date night of having an experience while you're doing that it was just fun.
Leaving the house.
Yeah, it was great. And we had two new babysitters. Well, it was twin sisters that came to babysit.
Ooh.
So Evie, Che, and Lolly down the road.
Probably not.
They can babysit together. But it's always a little nerve-wracking when you're
sure.
I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm going to go ahead and leave my 15-month-old with you.
There you go. Keep them alive.
Yeah. Here's a pizza, and off you go.
Did they do well?
They did great. They even unloaded our dishwasher.
Ooh.
And got things in the right spots.
Oh,
so,
you're not finding like spatulas where the
no,
plates are?
they
and
did
stuff?
great.
Okay, great.
We're going to keep them in our back pocket.
Cool.
I'm not going to be sharing that information because
Babysitters are hard to come by. You got to covet that
very
stuff.
tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. So, but anyway, anything new with you, John?
Yeah, let's see here. We are in the month of April, coming into summertime. We got
Well, it's been summer basically the whole time in
you're
Colorado.
probably right. But our family has been outside. Last week was our most outside hours.
Let's go.
We are just crushing. We're getting like 4 hours outside every day.
That's a lot.
Sunshine. The water table is a huge hit
Huge thing.
these
If you
days.
don't have a water table or you're having a kid, get a water table. It is very entertaining for
all parties
basically
involved.
nothing.
Yeah. And it's funny though, because I've been using warm water in my water table, and the girls are like stoked about it.
Yep.
I watched. They went over to their grandma's house this week, and I watched her do the water table. She just did hose water, and the girls were shivering while they were playing.
But still had a blast. Doesn't
had a
matter
great
the
time.
temperature of the water. They are going to get in there, get wet, and have a good time.
It was awesome. So fun. But yeah, man, we're talking families. Last week we tackled that idea of it's time to decide, like, who do you want to be as a family? Like, what are the memories you want your kids to be sharing, and to be intentional about that as dad. And now, like, we want to take that a little bit of a step further this week and dive into, okay, so you've got an idea of who you are, but now let's add some more people into the mix.
Yeah.
Let's add in those parents. Let's add in those in-laws. And what now?
This is when it gets a little tougher, right? And in a good way, because having a community, having those people around you is such a blessing. And there are people that unfortunately do not get to have these conversations.
You're right.
And I think that is a perspective that if you are able to have that conversation, like, you're lucky.
You're in a good
right?
place.
You're like, having all of your kids' grandparents, or half of them, or however many you have, like, just being able to experience that with your parents, your wife's parents, your step parents, whatever your family looks like, but having that circle around them, and cousins and aunts and uncles and everything. Like, it is a blessing to have that, because there are people who would give anything to have one of them.
I was listening to, it wasn't a podcast, more of a social media like commentary, but they were talking about how this season where you've got littles at home and your parents are still around is this really beautiful short window of time. Where you're kind of in the middle, like, you're in the thick of it, you're in the grind, you're doing, diapers and the whole thing, but then, and you've also got parents and you're trying to make sure that they're good, and, all of those dynamics, you kind of feel like a caretaker being stretched in all the different directions. Yet it's like really special to see multi-generational
So cool.
experiences all happening at the same time. And I'm feeling that.
Yep.
Getting to drop my girls off with my parents and Viv's parents, and like it's just been really fun.
Yep.
Getting to kind of see everybody light up and get excited and recognize each other and know who I'm talking about when I mention names
Yes.
and all of that.
Yeah, it is so much fun. And it starts early, right?
Yeah.
Like it is
How early?
hour one.
Hour one.
Like
Hospital room.
Like, let me put it in perspective real quick,
Yeah,
right?
let's hear
We
it.
had an emergency C-section. My parents, we dropped Winnie off, our dog, at my mom's house on the way over there because we didn't know what was going on.
Wasn't it blizzarding?
It was snowing. It was awful. Abigail was puking in the car. It was quite the morning. And, but so we get to the hospital. I'm keeping moms in the loop of, because it was also our induction day. So we were having the baby that day, whether it was going to be
Regardless.
in the morning or at night. And
So you're texting everybody.
yes, we have a group text with just moms. Like, didn't need to blow everybody else up. Just like, hey, here's what's going on. And then all of a sudden, it's, hey, this baby's coming out in the next 5 minutes. Talk about sheer panic. So literally all I do is send a text to both of them and say, hey, we're going in for an emergency C-section. I'll talk to you guys later. And, my parents lived 20 minutes from the hospital and they showed up, and which I'm super grateful for, having support there, because you just don't, you just don't
absolutely.
know, right? And, but so we have the C-section, everything goes well. Riley goes back to the NICU. Abigail goes back to recovery. So I'm like running back and forth between baby mom, trying to figure out what I'm doing. And then, my parents get there, so I go in and I talk to Abs, and I'm like, hey, my parents are here. And Abigail was super out of it, just had her stomach cut open, a baby pull,
Yeah.
insane.
I was there. I wasn't there.
She snapped into this mode that
Like
was
coherency?
very coherent, and goes, if your parents meet my daughter before I do,
I'm going to lose it.
I said, yes, ma'am. So,
That is so Abigail.
so went
She's
went out to my parents, was like, hey, thanks for being here. Can't see the baby yet.
chill.
And my parents were like, nope, totally get it. Just wanted to be here for support and just
great.
make sure everything was good. And then they left for a little bit, brought dinner back later.
great.
And so, like I said, literally hour one,
You're
people are
navigating.
going to be wanting to see the baby, and you got to make sure that you guys are on the same page. And I've seen some people that like literally hour one, and they're taking family photos with brothers, sisters, grandparents, like everybody, have 14 people, 20 people in the hospital room. And then there's others that are like, don't come to the hospital for the first day because
In
it's
fact,
just going to be
don't
us.
come to my house for the first month.
Correct. And you got to establish that, because otherwise there's going to be some feelings hurts if there's no expectations. And everyone's just excited. Like it's a good thing, but everybody is excited to see your baby.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that your wife is on board with that too. And your wife may also be the one that is like, hey, I want to have everybody in here.
Bring
and
them in.
you may be the one that's like, hey, I'd rather have like at least a couple hours of us just before everything else happens. So just make sure you kind of have those conversations.
Yeah. So what do you think? Like, when should we be trying to dial in what that portion is? Because
Now.
everyone, true, but think about it. Like everyone says, have a birth
Yeah.
plan, and so you go into that hospital. And you've kind of got an idea of what you're expecting, what you want. You communicate that to the docs, but like time to sit down and be like, honey, what do we want the first couple of hours to look like? What do we want the first week to look like? Those kinds of conversations, I don't feel like are told to dads to have.
Yeah.
And so here we're telling you, dads, before baby comes, before the chaos of it all, sit down with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or whatever and have.
But she can't drink the wine.
Okay, fine. Sit down. She can't have coffee either.
No, sparkling water. Here we go. Just what we were talking about.
Sit down with your sparkling water and say, honey, let's just imagine, what do we want the first couple of hours to look like? What do we want that hospital time to look like? what do we want it to look like for the first week or so.
Yep.
Because that time is special. Like
Totally.
it's sacred in some ways, where you're just like, this is us. This is our new family. We are inviting this new being into our fold, and you get to kind of be with them, snuggle them, pray over them, whatever it looks like for your family. And that time, I just remember like really loving it. But if you're not intentional about it, it's gonna slip by.
Because sleep is low and emotions are high. That is the other piece that you have to remember those first couple weeks and right out of the hospital. I mean, you want to talk about your emotions being at an all-time high, and then you're not sleeping much. So like you're running on kind of adrenaline, and it is a very weird time where you really do have to make sure that you are giving you and your wife space for that to enjoy, your little one. And I get that there's a lot of people who their in-laws or parents live out of town and are going to come in. Have that conversation beforehand of like, hey, maybe come out. We had this conversation with Abigail's parents of like, maybe don't come out. We don't need you in the hospital because we're going to be in the hospital and nothing is going to happen there. But like, let us get home and get settled for a couple days and then come up and then spend 4 or 5 days with us where you're in the house and you get to just snuggle the baby. Mm-hmm. And then here is your hack. Let your mother-in-law or mother take a night and you guys get full sleep.
Oh, we didn't do that.
Yeah, you missed out.
Wow.
That's
a big
or
that's a
like
big ask.
Take 1 or 2 shifts.
Yeah. I just remember those midnight feeds
where you could get 6 hours in, and it's a little harder for you with twins, but like get 6 hours in where they take the monitor and wake up and feed the bottle. Where like even if you just have to pump. Not you,
Not me.
We don't have to. We get to sleep all the way through, but your wife gets to wake up every 3 hours to have her nipples sucked to oblivion. But anyway, but there still is a huge difference between like that and then having to get up, change a diaper, feed, go.
Totally.
So
you're saying, get clear with your wife ahead of time on what you want that time to look like. But be willing to, if you've got family that are ready to take on that role, be willing to say, I'm going to offload a night or two with
see if they're willing. Help. Yeah, see if they're willing, and if not, like whatever.
That's fine.
Don't hold it over their head. But my mother-in-law offered, and it was great.
That's awesome.
And then you're going to have people, friends, and neighbors, and people who want to come see the baby that first month, and. How do you tell people, hey, not right now? Or, hey, we had a plan for you to bring dinner on Thursday, and it's just like we had a long night. Can you just drop dinner?
I did that. I handled all the communication of the meal train.
Yes, meal train. Tell us about it.
Like, when we got home with the babies, and they were, it was a lot. But I do remember... people wanted to give us some food, which was so helpful because we spent all this time at the hospital, and it was like the timing was brutal to be able to cook a meal and then still feel like you could go over there. So it was very helpful. People were given meal trains, and by the way, they gave us a lot of like DoorDash money. And
very
that
nice
was like
to have.
So helpful.
Very nice
so if you're doing a meal train, like add that option, because sometimes casserole is great, but you're just craving a
or if you've got a good college friend or family friend that you live in a different state, send them $50 on DoorDash.
Exactly.
And
it goes
listen,
so far.
It goes so far in a way. $50 will get you
a
chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A after you pay all the
transition
fees and all that crap. But no, it means a lot to that person.
Sometimes you're just in the mood for a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and it's great. But on the note of communicating, it was very clear that when you drop off the food, it's actually not a visit.
Yeah, you're not staying for dinner.
It's a thank you. Yep. If the baby is around and awake, like come say hi. Yep. If Viv is put together and ready to say hi to you, great. But there was an expectation that you're dropping the food off and you're heading out.
Yep. Did you have any friends or family that went above and beyond on the meal train that was like, hey, if you are doing this for somebody, if you are signing up for the meal train, like, do this? Do you have any of those?
We had one friend that did kind of like a pasta chili thing, but they put everything in separate Tupperware, and then there was little sticky notes, and they included the recipe.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it was like, here's our family recipe. We love this one. Here's what you do. Oven to 350. And they like anticipated that we weren't going to be able to eat it right then and there, because that's a lot. You're getting a lot of food. And so if you package the food in a way that's like, this is reheatable, it's not just like one giant tub where it's like, better start eating it now, otherwise that's going to be gross in a couple of days. Like, that was cute, and then it had the recipe.
That's cool.
And we still use that recipe because it was really good.
Yeah.
So you get a sense of, and I always say, like, I got to taste what people make at home, which is actually really fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
And the people that included little sticky notes or notes, little words of encouragement, little scripture, prayer, or whatever, that was really, really sweet, and it went pretty far for us.
Yeah, we had a family that brought us. It was some of our good friends, and they brought us some groceries too.
Oh,
just
sweet.
Random groceries, and then 2 other just like those pre-made meals at the grocery store that all we had to do is pop in the oven. They just brought some of those, and it was awesome.
I had an out-of-state friend. Actually, my old boss from Epic, she jumped on the meal train, and she pre-ordered the Costco like chicken tacos.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then it was delivered to the house.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, I've had this meal. This meal rocks, and here it is. I didn't have to go to Costco.
That's awesome.
So, like, things like that, there are a lot of options.
A lot of good, right?
And
that comes home in that first month.
Yeah. But again,
it's chaos.
If you're not structuring
it will rock you guys.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to be. That's where you have to communicate with your wife and with those people. And most people are going to understand. Like, listen, I really appreciate it. We will grab dinner or meet you at a park or something at some point. But for right now, just come in, say hi, and leave. And everyone's going to be okay with that. You just have to make sure that everybody's kind of on board with it.
Yeah. So, on that note, I want to kind of transition here to the idea of working with maybe your family, your in-laws, on some of these expectations. And here's the bottom line that I want to hit home, and then we can kind of unpack a little bit. It is their first time with this baby as well. Like, it's your mom's, and maybe it's not always the case, but like if you have other kids or whatever, but like if it's your first baby and you're the first of your family to have a grandkid, it's your mom's first time being a grandma, and she's got to find out, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
And it's a big deal.
It's huge.
It's a huge deal. Like, you becoming a mom is a big deal, or a mom or a dad. But like your parent, like, we're already dreaming of that for our kids.
I know.
Of like, how cool is it going to be that our kids are going to have a family too, and they're going to be so excited.
Yes, and they're not going to know like what to do.
Yep.
They're going to have an idea, but they parented 30 years ago. So
and things change.
Things have changed
a lot.
A bit. We got AI now. But literally, my mom told me, I was talking to her and about like, okay, Mom, AI just came out. Like, we're all dealing with like, how does that infuse our parenting? And we're learning all this stuff about tech and things. I was like, was there a huge innovative thing that changed culture when I was a baby? And she goes, oh yeah, we all got cell phones. Before that, nobody had cell phones. Nobody had a way to track where each other was. There was no way to like check in. You said, let's meet at the park at 4, and you kind of got there at 3 and hung out till 5 in case they were late or early, and that was it. And she's like, we got cell phones, and that changed the game. And so, thinking about her becoming a grandparent now, again, it's like, yeah, she's got to relearn what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, and you're going to have some weird conversations with your parents with that. Like, my mom, a fantastic mom, who we also did foster care and took care of babies forever. Like, we had a baby in our house basically until I was 18. Yeah, until I was out of high school. Like, we had a baby in our house at some point. But now with sleep sacks, like, you don't sleep with blankets in the crib. Well, when we grew up, that was a very normal thing because you didn't have a sleep sack. You put a blanket in there to keep them warm. So it's like stuff like that. It's like, hey, Mom, just to let you know, we don't do that anymore. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, that's what the sleep sack is for. Like, she doesn't need this massive quilt in there too. Like, these loose blankets are what are SIDS. This is what will literally kill a kid.
I remember my mom put all of their stuffed animals in the cribs while they were sleeping. She's like, they looked like they needed a little
little buddy. It's like, no. As sad as it looks, that's what's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so you may have to have some of those weirder conversations with your parent of like, hey, I know this is what you used to do, but we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. No, it's like,
totally
hey,
fine.
just a heads up. This is how things, how things are. And like have kind of a very nonchalant, very unofficial kind of conversation.
And
don't make it a big deal.
Be willing to communicate like what your strategy is, because they're willing to. I'm finding my parents and my in-laws are willing to do our strategy.
Yep.
But if we don't communicate our strategy, then they don't know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yep.
Easy example is we were talking about our sleep transitioning, going from different hours when we were going from like 1 nap to 2 naps. All of those like transition times are always hard.
Yep.
But we were learning a lot from taking care of babies and how do we do sleep training. And I remember like summarizing all of the big points of the things that we were learning into an email and just shooting it over to them and said, hey, y'all, just so you know, this is coming down the road and here's what we're doing about it.
Yep.
Same thing with teething. When they started really get a lot of teeth, I was like, here's like 3 things that work.
Yep.
And I jotted it into a group chat and sent it over.
Yep.
Because like they're going to do their best, which is amazing. But if you're committed to doing a thing together, bring them in on it. If they're part of the crew, part of the village that's raising your baby, like get them the same resources that you're using.
Yep, keep them in on that conversation. We had something like this a couple weeks ago. My mom takes Riley every Monday when we go to work, and we send those yogurt pouches in with in her lunch. And
those things are good.
My mom has them. She also buys them because she has, my sister has a kid who's a couple months older than Riley, so she has snacks at her house. And there have been many times where my mom will hand her a pouch and Riley just squeezes it and it goes all over the place.
Totally.
So like I didn't think
EVJ hit the ceiling the other day.
It's insane how those things have some power behind them. But it's insane that so I didn't think to have this conversation with my mom of, hey, don't give Riley her pouch in the car.
Oh, God.
So we get a text from my mom, and she's like, well, Riley was finger painting with yogurt for the last 20 minutes in the car. And I mean, everywhere, dude. All over the place. And I texted her, I was like, well, I thought you would have learned from the first 5 times that you had to clean up the pouches at the house, that maybe you don't give her a pouch in the car. So, it's one of those conversations of like, you don't think about it.
You really don't.
Because there are things that like you learn the hard way that you don't necessarily bring up. But they'll figure it out.
They will. That's the thing too. Is like the best way to learn the strategy is to like kind of fail through it.
Yep.
On that pouch note, did you see the plastic thing that we got where you like slide the nozzle?
We
in
have
and
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does Riley not really go for it?
She hasn't really. We haven't really used it yet. So
we'll put the product in
review TBD.
Yeah. Fair enough. We use them because
you?
it saves us the mess.
Yeah. No, I mean it.
Use it for the applesauce packets. You can also use it for all sorts of things.
So if you're learning one thing from this, don't give your kid pouches unattended because it will go everywhere.
I'm also leaning away from like giving them food in the car, and I don't know.
It's
like,
hard.
Every parent's got their own thing,
It's
but
hard.
I'm just like I'm gonna be doubling the mess, so I'm just gonna hold off as long.
Have you
as I
seen when
can.
people just get a leaf blower and just blow out the snacks from their car?
I can see it. I can see
so
it.
there's one way you can help with that if it comes to it.
Or just be like, you're gonna eat when we get home.
But then if they're screaming in the back and it's like, listen, if this little bomba is gonna be keep you quiet, fine.
Yeah, I hear you. It's always a balance.
We can come back to that.
But you hit on something real, which is like it. I don't want to overwhelm my parents with here is a Google Doc of the 500 troubleshooting methods that you should do whenever baby is upset. And it's color coded and it's good. No, I'm not interested in that. No. They're not interested.
Given
in
the
that.
big things.
And half the time, I'm learning my parents are taking my stuff and just kind of putting it on the counter and being like,
100%.
We'll figure it out.
100%. Like we sent Riley with lunch, and my mom was like, she'd come home with a full lunch. I'm like, do you even want me to send this? She's like, no, I just kind of feed her what I have. I'm like, okay, makes our life easier.
Yeah.
So there also will be your parents may not necessarily follow everything to a T, which is fine. Like Riley's been on a one nap schedule at my mom's for a long time, and everywhere else she sleeps too, and she's just fine.
She's doing just fine.
Yeah, your parents understand if a baby cries, they're gonna know how to handle it.
Yeah.
And they just get to spend time with them.
Yeah. I want to pivot here because we've been talking about all the like fun things to do, ways to like set expectations with our parents, how it's like a great experience for them. It's a new experience for them. I want to hit on the idea that we, as their parent, as the baby's dad, you and your wife, you're holding the keys to that grandparent role.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we really think about that too much as dads, but I've been like mulling over it recently, thinking about my own family. And I know that, if you're listening to this and you've got a broken family or a stressed or fractured family, you're probably thinking, great, this is all well and good, but like I actually don't really like the way my parents are involved with my baby. I know it's all great and exciting that they get to be grandparents, but it's not, their role that they're playing is not necessarily one that I'm excited about. And so I just want to like take a moment to say, you have the keys to that grandparent role, and how they grandparent your baby is ultimately like you get to participate in, and you can close that door as you see fit. And I know that's like scary to say, like, oh my gosh, you should never, not let your kids see your parents or your in-laws or whatever. But I just want to call it out. Like there are some very real situations where it's like when they're with their grandparents, they come back in a very different state of mind. The lessons they're being taught are not what we as a family value. Yeah. And I think this stacks on what we talked about last week, which was who do you want to be as a family? And when you look at your like circle of influence of all of the people that are pouring into your baby, are they pouring in those values? Yeah. Are they supporting the things that you say, this is who we are as a family? So I say all that, like, does that hit with you? Does that make you uncomfortable? Like, what does that make you feel?
No, I mean, it's such a good reminder that just because someone has a title does not mean that they have earned that title, right? Like it doesn't mean that they get all of the benefits that come with that title. They have to earn that. You have to like you have to earn time with those kids. And like we're seeing it right now where our kids are sponges, dude.
They take it all in.
They will stare and they will learn. And like I was telling you before this, like Riley will take the dog out with me, and when I rip off a poop bag, she will stick out her tongue because I stick out my tongue to like lick my fingers to help open it.
Oh, like, you're not eating. You're not.
No, I'm not eating. I'm not licking the poop. Don't worry.
But like that's a weird thing to train her.
It's stuff like it's stuff like that like they pick up on things that you don't even think they are picking up on, or something that you don't even realize you're doing.
Totally. Every time I sit down in the chair and I go, now EVJ will run over to her little chair, her tiny little camper, sit down and just go. It's so cute.
So it's like they are these sponges where if there is something that is not healthy for them to be around, you need to make sure that you are the one that is advocating for your kid, because they can't. And with that, like there are going to be some hard conversations that you have to have.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And like, I think whether your family is as perfect as it is or as broken as it is, no matter what, you are going to have
Hard
some
combos.
sort of conversation that makes somebody feel hurt or makes them feel like, well, do you understand our situation? Well, yeah, I understand your guys' situation, but I have to do what's best for my family. And sometimes that is not spending as much time around, an aunt or an uncle or a grandpa or a grandma or a cousin or, if there's something around and it's like, hey, we love spending time with you guys. We want to continue to spend time with you guys. We want you to have them as much as you can. But if, Uncle Ken is going to be at this gathering, like, we probably won't be there. Or, hey, we're not going to, if someone's over at the house and you're watching them, like, I need you to let me know so I can, come over and get her, because I just don't want that to be a part of her life, of their life right now.
And the truth is it sometimes has nothing to do with like the family connection.
Yeah.
It just has to do with you are protecting your baby.
Yep.
And the bottom line is, if you don't protect your baby, who's protecting your baby?
Correct. Exactly.
And it can be as awkward or as uncomfortable as all get out.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line that should motivate you to have these conversations, Dad, is you are protecting your family.
Yep.
And
well, you hit on that, right? Like, you have to have that conversation, Dad. As a dad, it's your job to have those conversations. There are conversations that my wife and I, we have a rule that, and it's mostly that if I'm telling my parents, if we're like telling them, no, we can't make it to something, I'm the one that's communicating that.
So your rule is, if I have to say no, you say it to your own
most
family?
of the time it's like I'm doing the conversation and the communication with my family, whereas she deals with her family. And like, obviously there's overlap. My family lives closer than hers, so like,
sure,
there are times where she will talk to my mom and whatever. But it's more so like, for kind of a, hey, we're having everybody over for dinner tonight. Well, no, we just had a really long week. I'm going to be the one that says no, because I feel like that's an easier thing, because your mom's not going to get mad at you. It's a lot easier for a mom or a dad or siblings to hold a grudge over the spouse than over their family. So it's just, it kind of eliminates that awkwardness. But if there is a big conversations to be had, you better, pull up your pants, sack up, and go have that conversation, whether it's with your father-in-law, your mother-in-law, your sister, brother, whatever, or your side of the family. Like, you are the protector. It is your job to have that conversation.
Yep.
But you have to make sure that you guys are on the same page. Don't go rogue. Don't go have a random conversation that your wife is not ready for the consequences or the conversations that will come after that.
Totally. And I think here's the big piece of this is it's not always all or nothing. It's almost always a defining of what the boundary is.
100%.
And I think about this all the time. If you've got like an unhealthy family member and you're like, I don't really want you to babysit alone with my babies, but the boundary could look like, I'm just going to come over and hang out with you and observe and be around. And even this is great for like, I've got my brother-in-law, Viv's brother. He's fantastic. But like, this is his first time ever interacting with babies. So like, he watched him alone the other day and it was easy enough because they were napping during his like 2-hour slot. So he was like, it went great.
I sat and watched TV all day.
Exactly. I didn't have to do anything. Just watch the ball game. But he had many opportunities to like watch him with us, with other people around. And then we had a conversation with him and he's like, yeah, I'm good to have him. Yep. And it was his first like solo shot. And part of it is you as the dad are just figuring out where people are at.
Yep. Where they fit, right? Where they fit in the puzzle.
And it's great to take all of whatever people have as far as their bandwidth, it's valuable.
Yeah.
If you've got a grandpa who's not super mobile but can just knock out like 30 rounds of peekaboo, like boom, stay in your lane, grandpa. Like, yeah, crush it. But if you've got, mom who can take kids to the zoo by herself and do lunch and bath and is an all-star player once a week, yeah,
Go for it.
Go for it. You're in the lineup.
Yep.
But it's like, take whatever people can give you, and you're the manager. Like, place those positioning correctly. Yep. But if there's somebody who's toxic to the whole team, like, yeah, you're on the bench. You're not coming today.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not this is how it's going to be forever. Like you said, like this is just, you have to have these conversations, and you have check-ins, you have checkpoints of like, hey, maybe we try this next time, or hey, let's think about this, or let's, if you find a mediator type of thing where you're able to come in and make them feel like they're not necessarily being babysat, but it's just a coincidence or whatever, right?
Yep.
But I mean, we've made it. Family is always going to be hard, no matter what, because some family's going to feel like they try and be too involved. Some family is going to be they're not involved enough, and no one is going to do it perfect. And like you said earlier, this is their first time being grandparents, so they're learning kind of that side of it too, and like what that balance looks like. And you can't be looking at other people's relationships with their parents versus yours, because there are people in totally different states, because there's a lot of, some grandparents are retired and live 10 minutes away and are able to do everything with them. Then there's other grandparents who are still working and just can't make it happen as often. But then when they do, they're
all in.
Yeah, they crush it. Yeah. And so you can't see what everybody else is doing and be like, hey, I want that. You can say, hey, like, let's figure out how we could get towards that. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of circumstances that go into that.
Yep. And give yourselves a little bit of grace too. We're still figuring out too.
A lot of grace. I think we've said that every single podcast.
Like, you're better than you're doing better than you think you are.
100%.
And you're thinking about these things. You've got your family in mind. You've got your spouse in mind. You've got your baby at top of mind. Like, you're doing well, Dad. Yep. But also know that the stakes are high, and it's time to just continue taking steps towards we're becoming this as a family. This is how all of the other players fit in to that. And if there's a hard conversation that needs to be happen, I know that I'm going to step in and do it.
Well, and if you start having these hard conversations, not even hard, but these conversations now, if there is a really hard conversation to have in 8 years, like, it's not going to feel that hard, because you've been able to communicate all of these things the entire time, where all of a sudden stuff doesn't build up, and then it's just like, yo, this isn't working. And like, well, why didn't you tell us that for the last 5 years, right? Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you start something, and then you're able to, and if there's someone that you just do not feel comfortable with having time with your kiddo, like, start out slow, like you were saying, and like introduce them of like, hey, you want to just come over on Sunday from 2 to 4? We're just gonna be hanging out, or come meet us at a park, and then slowly start kind of incorporating that. Because the last thing you want to do is totally,
burn bridges.
Yeah,
with family
and like, listen, there are circumstances where that is the case, right? Where it's like, this is not a healthy relationship for my family at all, and you are just not going to be a part of our lives. And it's a very unfortunate thing, and it's something that, happens. And if you are in that situation, like, I'm sorry. I hope you can figure it out, but I also understand that you are probably doing that because it is the best thing for you and your family. And I know that it is like cutting you deep to not have whoever around. But that doesn't mean there's a lot of ways around it, and a lot of ways to continue to kind of build that relationship back up if it is there.
Totally. Nothing is forever.
No.
And people, as your baby grows and you grow, it's like, there's opportunities for grace and forgiveness and healing and reconciliation and all of those things. And it's, I think, one of the most incredible things about seeing kids is they show that.
Yep.
Like my little girls are just learning that they can hug each other. And shout out to Lolly, because Lolly is the sweetest little lady. But like EVJ will push her over or something, and Lolly will be pissed and angry. But then 5 minutes later, we'll just go over and hug her. It's like, okay, if they can show grace and love, it's like we can't.
I know. They don't even know. They still pee their pants all the time. But like, if they understand how to do that, like, listen, you know how to use a toilet, so you should be able to reconcile some of that stuff too. And
So good.
and there's just, yes, there's bad, but man, there is so much good with it too. And you got to keep that in perspective.
And to think about too, if it was just on Mew and just on Abs, how much extra work it would be. Like, you want these people in your life.
1000%.
You want all of the influences in your baby's world.
Yep.
You want them to learn that there's a different way to cut a banana.
Yeah.
That other people, grill their meat differently. And that, over here, they use way more ketchup than we do at home, Dad. Like, what is going on over there? But, like, you want them to, understand that people do things differently. Yeah. They live in this world differently. And the best, next step beyond your immediate nuclear family is the grandparents, the cousins, the friends, the neighbors.
Yeah.
And you get all those influences that are aligned with where you want to go as a family, man, your kids are going to be unstoppable.
Yep. And you need that friggin' army.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone says, it took a village.
It does.
No, man, it doesn't take a village. It takes a city.
Yeah.
It takes a nation to raise kids, because it is like on Tuesday, I was coming back from a trip and Riley threw up. And Tuesday night or Monday night. So Abigail's like, well, we call the person she was going to go with, and they're going on a trip. They're like, yeah, we don't necessarily want her over. So Abigail's like, well, what do I do? I'm on an airplane flying back home. And so she calls my mom, and my mom's like, yeah, bring her over.
Bring her over.
And you are going to get in a pinch. And if you don't have family, the coolest thing about life is you get to go pick your family.
Yeah.
Go pick your friends. Our families are as close, if not closer, than family.
Absolutely.
And literally Tuesday, you guys came over while I'm on my way back, and
we cleaned up all the stuff.
Yeah, Viv went and made the crib, switched over the sheets. You guys came over and helped, and that is where. That's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Because when that first month out of the hospital, you're going to be exhausted. Have people over for dinner and have them cook for you and have them clean, and you just sit and eat.
Literally, just have a meal.
Just have somebody else that you can talk to, but then they come over and they're able to kind of clean something, or pick up your kid if you get in a pinch at work, or hey, we're going to go to the zoo today. Would Billy like to come? Mm-hmm. Heck yeah, Billy would love to come. Yeah, you're going to go to the zoo. It doesn't take a lot. Get to know your neighbors. Get to know, just dive into people, pour into them, because it's all worth it. This life. It is all worth it. Yeah. And having your friends, having your kids have friends already, and just know people and be safe and feel safe around other people is very important.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that.
No, you can't.
Well, I think we'd hit a lot of great things. Our next pod, we want to bring on a guest to kind of get his impact, his influence, his experience and wisdom. So it's going to be really fun. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to talk about some of the practicals. What does it look like in our families when it comes to setting boundaries? We're going to talk about really kind of the logistics of some of these things. So be thinking about your own relationships, your own family. Continuously look through the lens of who you want to be, and make sure you tune in next week as we dive in.
Yeah, and real quick before we go, we almost forgot, but
we got to do
got a couple rapid fire questions for you. What is the song in the car that if they're screaming, you turn it on and they stop?
We're really, really into the Wheels on the Bus Go Round right now.
Okay.
They're kind of singing. Lolly's kind of singing right now. Okay. So we even have a bedtime song, and whenever we talk about doing bed, she just starts going, la, la, la. That's very cute. But the wheels on the bus get them going right now.
Okay.
Also the itsy bitsy spider. Really
Yeah,
into that.
they do love the itsy bitsy spider.
Yeah, got the hand motions and everything.
If you don't have a couple songs that just save you, because
I mean that the OG still works here and there.
does it? Riley's out of the happy song.
The happy song?
Yeah, she's like, Dad, graduated from this. Turn on
fair
Frozen. We're in our Frozen. We already started our Frozen. We're gonna have a long Frozen
Era.
Too long.
I heard they're working on Frozen 3.
That's what I saw. We'll have to see. All right. Are you guys, do you have a show or are you starting to introduce them to any movies or TV shows? If you have not yet, what are you most excited to introduce them to?
So, nothing quite regular yet.
Yep.
However, they adore Miss Rachel,
Yep.
and I really only put it on when I got to do their hair. We've been doing this Monday morning, Pigtail Monday.
Yes.
And it's been fun to watch.
And if you don't know what we're
that.
talking about, go to our Instagram or our TikTok. And
TikTok.
I'm learning to do pigtails.
Pigtail Monday. I have some updated photos. I'll post them online.
Great.
Of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, because Miss Rachel has been my key because it keeps their head in one position. They don't.
I may
move.
need to do that.
And I was looking online. I was like, "Am I crazy, bad dad for doing this?" But a lot of people, for littles, they do that. They put it. Even think about going to the barber. Like they're putting a sports game on.
100%.
I think it's to do the same thing.
Keep your head
keep
still.
your head from moving.
Keep you locked in.
So
makes sense.
They've been doing that, and we did watch one episode of Bluey, that Australian show.
Yep.
People love it. It's great. I watched one episode and thought that parent humor was quite hilarious. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that show.
Okay. Scholastic has an app for your Apple TV.
Okay.
Or smart TV, whatever you use. They have Clifford on there.
Oh,
the OG Clifford.
Early 2000s.
They've got some OG just
Brother Bear.
Some of the good ones on there.
Brown Bear.
No, I think
Little Bear.
Little Bear. That's a movie. But then you got the Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
PB&J Otter is on there. Do you remember that one?
No.
Nah, dude, you got to go back and look through some
Okay.
go through the vault.
Of the old stuff.
Yeah. We threw on Bear in the Big Blue House. Do you remember that one? Bro, did you have it? You were the youngest, I guess. I was the oldest. So I grew up watching kids stuff until I was left for college.
Yeah, I feel like I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No,
when
not
I.
I. I was
my,
I was a
15-year-old
yeah, no,
siblings.
I was a kid show fiend. So, but yeah, it is amazing the difference between the old school shows and the new ones. How quick the backgrounds change and how quick they jump
yeah.
now
I bet the
versus the
colors
old
and
ones,
stuff.
dude, were legitimate puppets on a set but it didn't
20
move.
minutes. Yeah.
Didn't move. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Way less
Yeah.
stimulating,
Yeah.
but
Colors are probably more muted. All of
yeah,
that.
we'll get into that at some point. We'll do a tech.
I want to bring
pod.
on an expert too.
100%. Because we're
not really going rapid fire anymore.
No, that was just really too rapid fire question. We've kept you here long enough.
Yep.
And we'll catch you on the next one. We continue when we wrap up our family series.
Yep.
Family's great. Friends are great. Community, it's all worth it. Build it, and they will come.
It's awesome. Have a great one, y'all. We'll talk to you later.
Daddy-o! Dad!
It's a lot of lights, Dad.
You fathers will understand.
I told you he was an awesome dad.